Nearly everyone who has ever endeavored towards becoming a meaningful leader realizes that it will be incumbent upon him to make quality decisions, carefully yet in a timely fashion. The saying that is generally drummed into potential leaders are the words on the sign, "Ad Presidente Rubens." Yes, the buck stops here is indeed an important and essential lesson to be followed, but only if one comes to his decisions in a carefully crafted, well-developed, effective and meaningful way, instead of merely being some sort of empty rhetoric. After more than 3 decades of involvement in leadership and leadership training, from identifying, qualifying, developing, and training, through consulting and evaluation, I have come to the realization that it would be valuable to produce this checklist for effectively utilizing these 7 steps to make better decisions consistently. 1. Gather facts and alternatives in detail. How can you possibly make or even recognize necessary decisions if you don't further accumulate all relevant facts, alternatives, and factors involved? One of the challenges is that far too often, either one jumps to judgment or prejudges in a biased and exclusionary way. 2. Ask related and relevant questions and effectively listen. In order to enhance the ability to evaluate needs, priorities and other issues, a true leader, in his fact-finding mission, listens carefully, considers alternatives, and asks questions which will enhance his thorough understanding of the issues and the best way to proceed. 3. What is the basis of each alternative? Are suggestions being made focused on the best interests of the organization, or are they based on the personal prejudices, biases, and advantages of those making them? How will every option make any sort of meaningful difference, and why? 4. Are there any related precedents? While merely because something or some method has or has not been used in the past should not be a determining factor, if it has, one should consider the impacts and whether those might be related directly to this time and circumstance, if it's worked before. Under what circumstances, and if it was less than successful, was it because the idea was flawed, or was it the previous implementation and execution? 5. Ramifications/costs of action versus inaction. Perhaps the deadliest sin for anyone in leadership is to fall back on the tendency to procrastinate. Have you evaluated an alternatives on a benefits versus costs basis? Take the time to understand as many possible ramifications of either acting or delaying doing something as soon as possible. 6. Is a plan reasonable, rational, doable, and will it motivate others to get more involved? Another dangerous behavior that artificial leaders are trapped into is often only partly implementing an idea or not effectively and thoroughly creating and developing one's action plan with all the necessary contingencies and or alternative courses of action. 7. Evaluate, determine, and proceed forward based on your carefully considered decision in a timely manner. You can't merely talk about what's wrong, or blame others, or merely criticize. Rather, a true leader uses his developed skills and assets to proceed forward and act decisively. Wouldn't it be great if a leader could make better decisions? Hopefully these 7 steps will be helpful to those seeking to do so in a better, more meaningful manner.